Is Brock Purdy a game manager or a game changer? This is literally the question that has dominated the NFL this week, but honestly, for a huge portion of this entire season, because people don't understand, how is Mr. Irrelevant playing this well? How is he playing this good? This doesn't make sense. It has to be Kyle Shanahan. It has to be all the weapons. He's not the best player on his team. Can't be him. So we've been gathering opinions like they're infinity stones. And this one is a great one because it's this guy right over my shoulder. Joe Montana joined the Pat McAfee show to kind of talk about it from his perspective as a guy who was a West Coast offensive player who operated a scheme with one of the greatest coaches of all time in Bill Walsh, had some of the best weapons around him in Jerry Rice. The list goes on and on of all the guys that surrounded him, and he's considered the GOAT because he's won 4 Super Bowls. So it's a fascinating kind of look at a guy who I'm not comparing Brock to Joe Montana. Joe Montana is great because he has 4 Super Bowls and he's done amazing things. Brock Purdy is still way too young in his career to even make that comparison. But when you look at play style, and this is something that we've discussed ad nauseum, Brock definitely, his play style emulates Joe Montana's way more than it does Steve Young's. So getting Joe Montana's opinion on this is really cool because I think they're much more similar in play style than all the guys that he's constantly compared to. So take a listen to Joe Montana as he joined the Pat McAfee show to give his take on this game manager versus game changer situation right here.
When you look at this Niners quarterback now and this Brock Purdy guy, I assume you've gotten a chance to interact with him and meet him, and I assume he, just like everybody else who's in the NFL and has ever been around football, is like starstruck by you. But what do you see from this Brock Purdy guy about why he's had success at such a young age, especially for a 49ers team that obviously has a massive following and has been yearning for something like this, maybe since you were there, Joe?
Yeah, I think the thing I see is something that I think I figured out early on in my career was that what the offense is about, right? It wasn't about me. It was about getting the ball to the people who knew what to do with it, because I'm the mailman. This doesn't belong to me. I want to get it to somebody that knows how to run, knows how to catch. And we had, especially late in my career, when you get guys like Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Brent Jones, Roger Craig, on down the line, all you got to do is get the ball to them. And I think if you look at the weapons that Brock's working with, he's figured that offense out. He understands what his position is. He doesn't try to make a big play. He knows when that chance will come and when he needs to do it. But in most cases, it's okay to punt. I got a pretty good defense too, and that's when we had the same thing, right? That defense is pretty good. So yeah, they're going to have to earn their money too at the same time. And yeah, we're going to punt, and hopefully we don't punt too many times. But the defense, you got to, hey, you're up, let's go. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen of him is, because he understands it. He's calm in there. He has a great presence, and he's not trying to knock you out with a football. He delivers a great catchable ball. I mean, you talk to these guys and they'll tell you, the ball, very rare does it come in there harder than it's supposed to. And so.
Yeah, he puts in a keyhole too, Joe. It seems like his accuracy is just phenomenal. He's able to put it and find the spots. You talk about being a mailman, and you talk about all the weapons you had and all the weapons he has, and you're in every Mount Rushmore conversation that there is. So, like, that job well done being a hell of a mailman. Absolutely hell of a mailman. But one of the things they say against Brock is that the offense is the offense, and he has so much talent around him. Like, it feels like they try to find everything to kind of bury him, and now it might be turning, and who knows what it'll be after the Super Bowl, however he performs. But how do you feel about the whole game manager, game changer type conversation? Because the answer you just gave is like, managing the game is a massive piece of the entire thing, Joe. I don't know why that became like slanderous almost.
he hasn't had the chance to work with other receivers, and I think that's not a negative on him. It's just that people haven't seen him do that yet. I mean, obviously there was some reason that that the 49ers liked him to be able to take him last in the draft, the things that they saw on tape. And I don't think it'll matter who's out there. He's fortunate because he's got some pretty good studs out there that can give him the ball, and hey, they can go the distance, and nothing wrong with that. Everybody's had those in their lifetime. So I don't even think about that twice. I just think that it's a plus for him.
I love what Joe has to say, and it's straight to the point. He called himself the mailman because he's delivering. That's his job, to deliver the football into the weapons that they have around him within the scheme that is built for him to execute and push forward at a high level. That is the job of a quarterback. And this is the problem with today's perception of the NFL. People believe that the only way you can be an elite quarterback is if you have no weapons, your offensive scheme is terrible, and you just have this quarterback who just runs around and make plays outside of structure. It's a backwards thought process. Does it make for amazing highlights? Does it make for spectacular plays? Absolutely. But that's not the measure of being good, in an offense. Like, the measure of being good, in my opinion, is being able to execute an offense, being able to do these things at the highest of levels. And that is what Brock is doing. And even when things break down, he has shown an ability time and time again to be able to use his legs to pick up yards if he needed it. Did it on the final drive against the Packers. Did it multiple times against the Detroit Lions that Kyle Shanahan credited as being the difference in the game. So again, this constant talking point about Brock is ridiculous because people can't look beyond his physical stature. They can't look beyond what they see with their eyes. But he looks like an insurance salesman. Who cares? Who cares what he looks like? Look at the substance. Look at what he's executing. Look at what he's doing. What he's doing is unprecedented. Celebrate it. Uplift it. Prop it up. Why are you tearing it down? Because he doesn't look like Josh Allen, because he doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes. Who freaking cares, man? Listen to the GOAT. Listen to all the GOATs. Listen to Hall of Famers. Not Cam Newton, literally wearing a top hat, saying nothing. Cam Newton has a platform where he stood in front of a microphone and said nothing. And when we look at this conversation, that's a problem with it. You got a bunch of people saying nothing. It's crazy. As you can see, I've talked about this a million times, so I have thoughts and feelings. But again, stop comparing Batman to Superman. Batman will never be Superman. Brock Purdy's Batman. He's got the utility belt. He knows how to work within his limitations and maximize them. He doesn't have superpowers. He's not flying around. Like, he doesn't have super strength. He's not Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen, who have these immense physical tools that are elite physical tools. He's got physical tools that allow him to do his job at a very high level. But again, what are we comparing? Stop comparing Batman to Superman. They'll never be the same. Batman doesn't have superpowers. Superman does. But they're still super in their own ways. And that's it. They're super in their own ways, and start appreciating what Brock Purdy is doing. What do you think about what the GOAT had to say? What do you think about this whole conversation? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.